Well, welcome to Australia. How's the trip been for
Very
you?
good.
Yep.
Very good. My main interest or commitment is meeting with public and share some of my sort of conviction, mainly the ultimate source of happy life very much depend on peace of mind. So peace of mind very much related with more compassionate heart.
Yes.
Irrespective whether believer or non-believer. Everyone come from our mother at a young age. After birth, at least 3-4 years, we received tremendous sort of affection from our mother and someone else. So we already cultivated the seed of compassion. So it is part of our nature. But the problem is, when grown up, sometimes we neglect about that. So I remind people that potential is the ultimate source of happy life and also physical health. That's according to modern medical scientists. They say peace of mind, more compassionate mind is very, very helpful for the healthy body. The healthy mind, healthy body is a very close link.
Since your political retirement, have you had more time for spiritual matters?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Now, all my energy, all my sort of time can devote these two fields. So one, promotion of human value, and the second, promotion of religious harmony. But one thing, after now 2 years, I completely sort of retired
Yes.
from that. Not only myself retired, but also almost a 4-century-old tradition, Dalai Lama Institution, automatically become head of temple and spirituality. Now that formally ended voluntarily. So one noticed, I noticed, you see, when I take long flight or sort of visit some different countries, and sometimes in the past a little bit of concern what really happening about administration work or these things in India. Now I retired and elected political leadership now carry full responsibility. So when I visit different countries, say 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I feel now no need any worry. You see, they carry sort of all these management like that.
But Tibetans were shocked. Indeed, the world was shocked when you made that announcement. Is it because you reject theocracy, or was it for more personal reasons?
Actually, reject. It's an old, outdated sort of system.
Yes.
No matter how sacred, it's outdated.
Yes.
So we must act according 21st century's new reality.
Okay. No more.
From my childhood, I saw a lot of sort of drawbacks about our old system. Ultimately, because power in few people's hand, no independent judiciary. So since my childhood, very critical about this situation. So soon after I took the responsibility, that was in 1951. Then I think 52 or 53, I start reform committee. Start some reform. Not very successful because the Chinese communists, you see, they want reform according to their own way.
Yes.
So then after 59, you see, around 60, at once we start work for democratization. Then 10 years ago, about 2001, already elected political leadership. And my position is semi-retired position. Now 2011, now complete retirement, like that. I really feel very happy.
You feel
liberated
liberated from that? Or?
Oh, yes. I feel is one, I think, great achievement in Tibetan, perhaps I think in Tibetan history. Like that.
Much of your life, I mean, you are a spiritual leader, but much of your life has been consumed with politics. Is that still part of your life, part of your responsibilities?
Now here, still I'm Dalai Lama. Cannot retire from Dalai Lama.
Yes. Well, the Pope can retire from the Pope, though, apparently. Right?
Oh, yeah. So then most important, 6 million Tibetan people, including many Tibetan communists, genuine communists, no religious faith. But these people trusted me. I think 99% they truly trusted me and put a lot of hope on me. So I have moral responsibility to help them. So in that sense, yes, not is some my sort of connection there, like that.
Yes, I mean, retired or not, the Chinese still see you as a political figure, and the Tibetans still see you as a political figure.
Chinese. Now, you see, seems the Chinese, you see, some Chinese now see, you see, my retirement. I think since 2002, you see, we start direct contact with the Chinese government, Chinese officials, and on one occasion, I think a 9-time meeting with Chinese officials. So one occasion, my representative used to convey my desire since 1954, one pilgrimage to one famous Chinese Buddhist Buddhist site. So one occasion, my representative sort of told the Chinese officials, but then Chinese say, at that time also I mentioned purely spiritual, non-political. I would like to take one pilgrimage. Yes. Then at that time, the officials say, "Oh, Dalai Lama, you cannot, wherever Dalai Lama goes, the political implication was there." Now, I totally, retired. Yes. Actually, so I think maybe some possibility. I don't know, but I don't know.
When you left more than 50 years ago, how long did you think you would be in exile when that happened?
Oh, at that time, you see, I think no Tibetan expects, you see, so long, you see, have to remain outside. No, I think, although at that time, some Tibetan feel within few years we can return.
Yes.
That, I do not feel that. So, around 1959 and particularly 1960, you see, we planned, you see, we might need to remain out of India several years. So, accordingly, we planned our settlements in India, these things. Now, at that time, I myself also not expected also over 54 years now.
Yes, yes. You would have imagined by 2013 you would have returned, I assume. With China's becoming more powerful, more secure, more confident, but is it showing any sign of loosening its grip on Tibet?
Now, for their own interest, see, like Wu Jintao, when he became president, his one sort of was the slogan, his main sort of object is to build harmonious society. It is very useful, I mean, very important. But frankly speaking, 10 years passed, not much sort of achieved that. So that's the interest for everybody. So therefore, I think the 10 years you see, not much sort of noticeable sort of achievement about harmony. I think the method wrong, relying use force. It's a force, you use force, create fear. Fear destroys trust. Trust is the basis of harmony. So new leadership, I think past 10 years experience, and also the past sort of also the retired or the previous Prime Minister, Wen Jiabao, many occasions he publicly sort of expressed that China need political reform.
Yes.
So that's, I think, for their own interest. That's the only way. Economic reform now really brought a lot of sort of benefit, but at the same time, too much censorship. So sometimes corrupted people are more or less free if they have power. So immense problem, corruption. And I met this number of Chinese patients or ordinary people. Their condition is very, very bad. So therefore, the real unity, harmonious society, they're more open, let them receive criticisms, more open and more free information. I think that's, and then increase the judiciary system. So that's the only way to build happy society, a harmonious society. And then also the different sort of national sort of ethnic groups.
Yes.
Harmony. Now past, they believe, the hardliner believe harmony, unity can bring by force. That's totally unscientific, totally wrong. Now last 50, 60 years, in particular last few years, it clearly proved that's a wrong method. So they must think, you see, new realistic way. So there are some indication now, at least among the Chinese intellectuals,
Yes.
some retired officials,
Yes.
now really feel the existing their method is not realistic. So they have to find more scientific or more realistic method to build happy country.
But there's no sign of that, sir. I mean, it must be very difficult for you to retain any optimism that things are going to improve in Tibet. There's no signs of it. It must be hard on an emotional level for you.
Yes, difficult is difficult, but things are changing. I always look last over 60 years, Chairman Mao's era, Deng Xiaoping era, Jiang Zemin era, Hu Jintao era. There are change. Of course, not in political field, but economy and some other thing. Like Chairman Mao's era, I consider era of ideology. Then Deng Xiaoping find economy is more important than just ideology. So Deng Xiaoping era concentrate, liberalize in economic field. Now some way China become capitalist country. Socialist country, socialist just a name. Then Jiang Zemin, now Communist Party, no longer party of working class people, but also the middle class people and wealthy people. So three represents. Then Hu Jintao, you see, tried to build harmonies because you see some gaps reaching to poor and different sort of in the coastal area and interior area like that. So these are same party with same constitution. You see, acting according new reality, this is some new sort of effort or new thinking.
Yes.
So now the Xi Jinping era, there's not much choice except some liberalization in political field. That does not mean, I personally feel, if communist sort of authority change that, if collapse, then I think China never experienced democracy. So you see, and very sort of, I'll say the 1.3 billion population. So some kind of central power, I think necessary. And under that leadership, gradual sort of change, a democratic way. That's more, I think everybody's sort of interest. If you see China, too much chaotic situation develop, it's not good. Nobody's interest.
There's changes in China. There's also changes in Tibetan culture too, and some of it not for the better. I'm referring to the sort of rather extreme pattern of violence, of self-violence, of immolation. What's your view of this trend? Where's it come from, and what's your position on it?
Very, very sad when that first sort of the incident happened. One BBC sort of interview.
4 years ago or something.
Oh yes, yeah. There's one BBC interview. I expressed, firstly, of course, very, very sad. Then secondly, I express, I doubt whether this kind of act, drastic act, really can be effective or not. Then soon, I expressed, this is symptom of some causes. Now Chinese government must, or concerned official must investigate what are the causes.
Well, they are investigating, and they say you're the cause, or your clique are the cause. They believe that you're encouraging
that's
this.
Hardliners' official view, political minded. And those people, I think in the past, quite often, you see certain statement is made official, then the person, you see, under sort of force, they have to sort of accept it in their own sort of statement like that. So actually, like 8,000 crisis, 2008 sort of crisis. Even Wen Jiabao blame on me.
Yes.
Then I immediately sort of respond. Now please send officials, come to Dharamsala, check.
Yes.
And then this self sort of burning. Again, you say they blame on me. Yeah. Again, I express, now please come and check, investigate thoroughly. So we are ready to show all the materials like that. We have no connection. Now here, I think the thorough investigation, these people, not drunk, not family problem, but there are sort of, I say, tremendous sort of sadness about the sort of restriction about Tibetan religious sort of, study. And they actually a lot of effort, synchronization.
Yes.
And many schools, you see Tibetan lesson reduce.
Yes.
Sometimes no longer Tibetan study, only Chinese. So these are the causes.
It's a sign of torment. I mean, people are tormented if you do something as extreme as that, but they're also doing it for spiritual reasons. I mean,
that's right. Yeah. That's right. And meantime, this act, self-burning, also you see some kind of sort of non-violence. Such sort of people easily shoot other people.
Yes.
Or use explosive, but still they restrain.
Yes.
Just sacrifice their own life.
Hurting themselves. Yes.
This is not only Tibetan case. During Cultural Revolution in China proper, some well-respected some abbot, some monastery, when Red Guard come to destroy their temple, they self sort of burning. Also it happened. And then also Vietnam. And in past history, it's a such case for Buddha Dharma or for some bigger issue. You see, it happened.
But this was rare, sir. I mean, there's now been 100 or 100.
Now here, you see, this is very, very sensitive sort of political issue. So usually, you see, I have no sort of direct sort of the relevance. And then also, you see, whatever I say, the hardliners immediately, you see, manipulate for their own sort of necessity like that, their own view. But I usually say keep quiet.
Well, I mean, I understand it's very sensitive for all of the families involved, whatever words you give to condemn or not condemn. It's a very difficult position you're in. But you have been criticised for not making a clear statement to condemn these actions. Do you condemn it on a spiritual level?
If I say some harsh word, and what will feel this family member? They feel great regret.
Yes.
I cannot support at the same time. So best thing is remain silent.
So that's essentially been your position, to remain silent. But is silence encouraging the behaviour if people are thinking they're doing
No. I don't think it's our political leadership. Right from the beginning, you say express such sort of drastic action should not take place.
Yes. And do you believe that too?
Yes, of course, he have sort of also the direct responsibility, and then he has to see these are sort of view of our people, majority of our people. That's certain.
And I mean, on a personal level, do you also believe it should not happen? Do you condemn it, or do you remain silent on this?
As I mentioned earlier, I think now over 100 people killed that way. How much effect? Of course, some publicity there. But I feel you see, another way. I think number of Chinese now intellectuals really, you see, supporting about our cause, our right. Say, last few years, we noticed 1,000 articles in Chinese language wrote by Chinese. All 1,000 articles fully support about our middle way approach and very critical about government policy.
Yes.
And I met last few years, I think several hundred is Chinese, and intellectual people, I think hundreds. All is supporting.
Yes.
So I think, and many Chinese who visit this Tibet, those who sensible Chinese, they really showing
something has to change. It can't continue like this, right?
So I think more sort of talk with Chinese brothers sisters. I think that I feel more effective rather than some sort of tough sort of position and something like, including sort of burning these things.
You see a young man like that, it's hard to understand what he did. I mean, it's horrifying to me. In your view, how could a boy like this do what he did? What's he thinking?
I think they can do more, since they have such sort of courage and such sort of high spirit. So remain alive and do more, can do more. Shorten their life, I think quite pity.
It's tragic. I mean, it's unimaginable to me for a man to do that. But perhaps it's a context I don't understand. I just cannot imagine what's inside.
But that's a sign of determination. Then from the strictly speaking from the Buddhist viewpoint, then ultimately it depends on the motivation. The motivation, thinking about Buddhism, and even you see some kind of a sense of concern about those hardliners. Then the action become very positive. If such action is carried with full of anger, hatred, then negative.
Yes. So it could be.
So I heard it is some old monk, some the genuine practitioner. Also, I think included some of them, you see, burned. I think motivation. That's recorded in 1958. Some Buddhist masters. Now, for example, Drishtian monasteries. One, I think, highly respected sort of one monk. He also among the sort of people who executed. So, just before the fire, he let the person let me short prayer. The prayer is, the meaning is, all the negative emotion on these people's mind, please write on me. All my sort of positive thing, you see, share with these people.
Yeah.
Very moving prayer and short. So these things, you see, such sort of the immense sort of difficulties of fear, and such circumstances still keep Buddhist sort of teaching or Buddhist teaching. So I think those people start burning. If you see keep this kind of motivation, then meant for Buddha Dharma. So at least you see overall we cannot say right or wrong, but the individual case is accumulation like that.
All right. I'm aware of your time. My final question then is: do you think you'll see Tibet again in your lifetime?
Oh, quite definite. Things are changing.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.